Secondly, create a funnel. A guy named Dave McClure, master of 500hats.com, I think is his site, but I have it later. He came up with this idea for a dashboard. It's brilliant. He's saying it's called Pirate Metrics. Arr. Acquisition, activation, retention, referral, revenue. That's the AARRR. By the way, if you go up and look up Dave's site, Dave has very colorful language. So if that offends you, you probably don't want to read anything he does or follow him on Twitter. So acquisition, people come to your site. How many people come to your site? How many look at more than 2 pages? How many are there for more than 10 seconds? How many click on more than one page and don't abandon? And your conversion rate and your estimated value, which is worked up from the bottom up. Activation, the same thing. How many are happy after their first visit? How many sign up for your free, like freemium offering or your free trial, something like that? Retention, how many come back more than one time? Referral, how many refer others? And then revenue, how many users pay or generate revenue? Okay, I think that this is a good thing. Like they put this together, it was brilliant. I think that referral comes after revenue. Because if you're not going to pay somebody, you're probably not referring other people. But Dave was looking at more of a freemium universe, where and business models have changed since then, where not as many people are giving away their software anymore. So another guy who stood right where I'm standing just 2 months ago, a guy named Brant, he put together this model, which takes the same things that you saw here from Dave McClure, and then this suspect, lead, prospect, customer references if you took the regulars, like people who like do sales for a living, this is how they think. And then the business activity, like demand generation, customer interface. I'm not going to read this whole slide because it's pretty complicated. You know, what does a prospect feel? And then what should you be doing in customer development is there in red. And so Brant came up with this. When I first saw this, I was like, wow. This is pretty smart because he's putting all these models together. And then I sat down with somebody who was having some pain in this area, and I said, like, look at this is what you should be doing, and went through this. And I started looking in their face like, oh my God, this is so complicated, I don't know what to do. So there's another guy named David Cancel. David Cancel is the CEO of Performable out in Nashua, New Hampshire. David's a pretty brilliant guy. He put this together, although David likes everything rough. He likes it like he would never ever like pretty graphics and just like numbers and then column and stuff like that. So I joke around about it that this is too pretty for him. But you have website visitors. People come to your site. How many sign up for your free trial? 10%. How many log into their account? People sign up, don't ever come back and log in. How many become active users? How many become paying users? And how many long-term users? And this is like I think this is the best funnel. I like this best because it's very, very clear and simple what you should do. And as you share this with other people, they get it. So I think that this is a good starting place for building a funnel. Just something like this. Like, what do people do to help you to drive revenue and earnings? So you want to drill down on the funnel. If you have that funnel, you want to look at it by customer segments, because you might be serving. Earlier, Bernhard showed you the business canvas. You may have several customer segments that you're serving. Well, in this stage, you have to figure out which one's the right one, because it's too expensive to try when you're just a little startup to try to service all these people. Figure out which one's the most profitable and which one's the right one for you. So if you have various different funnels by segment, you can realize which segment actually converts the best for you. Which will drive the most revenue to you? Which one will stay? And sometimes that's tricky. Also by source. You may get a lot more leads from AdWords, but it turns out that Bing, the people convert faster. You don't get as many leads, but they convert faster, or maybe you get a higher percent. So you need to be looking at like your Twitter feed and your blogs and all the various different social media things and other things that you're doing for SEM, SEO, seeing where those things are. I'm not going to give like a complete like how to build landing pages and all that, because we'll just go down a rabbit hole there. But basically, every way that you get revenue, you need to measure a separate funnel for that. So you know which ones are the most profitable, because like I showed you that funnel on the last page, which ones are there after a year? Sometimes it's not intuitive how many customers stay, but if you find a source that works for you, that's how you know. Does Twitter work better for you? Does LinkedIn ads work better for you? Things like that. So you want to look at your marketing program costs, your what I was just talking about is ROI per marketing program, which is your number of raw leads, conversion of paying customers, and your cost per lead. Again, this is all these kind of blue box things are good for your dashboard, because you're looking at that kind of stuff all the time. So imagine you have a store, a physical store, bricks and mortar. 100 people come into your store. If you're good at what you do, 10 of them decide to join your members club, which is in software as a service or web companies. That would be do your free trial or sign up for your freemium model. 2 of them decide to buy. After a year, only 1 is still a customer. I know these sound like wild numbers, but we'll get into where all that data came from. Studies have shown that it takes 6 to 7 customers to replace an existing one. That's because people fall off and you have to keep paying that cost of customer acquisition. That's a real problem. You know why? You need 6 to 700 new customers coming in your front door because you didn't save the guy who was going out the back door. That's a big deal. Okay, Avinash Kajik, he is the evangelist for Google. They know more about what you do than anybody. And he said 2% is the conversion rate, whether you're selling iPods or elephants. So no matter what you do, by the way, if you are doing stuff and you get 2% conversion, don't spend a lot of time trying to get that higher, because you're now in a bell curve, right? So you're starting to fight the uphill part of the bell curve. There's probably better things that you can do with your time. If you're way below that, you should really work on that. Also, another one, TrialPay's 2011 report, which you can go online, it's free. It's pretty interesting, but 1 to 3% of all customers using the free version of their software do they expect to upgrade. And I could go on and on with stats, but it's very difficult. Mike.
When they're saying conversion rate, are they saying, let's say, 100 people who clicked on your site and looked, or it's 100 people who actually saw your ad somewhere and then bought?
Buy.
I know.
100 people on your site. 100 people.
So let's say if you have
a visitor, right? Somebody comes to a landing page.
So regardless of how many people saw your AdWords or Facebook ad,
no. Don't ever.
Whoever.
Never, ever buy into impression-based marketing.
Right.
That is something for Procter & Gamble. I mean, you are so small and insignificant that number of impressions shouldn't matter to you, or how many people recognize your brand is like so unimportant because you're too small. When you get really big, when you get all the way at the end of the customer development thing, you can worry about stuff like that, but you're so small that you should never buy into, don't ever pay for cost per impression. For those of you who know what I'm talking about, there's cost per impression and there's cost per action. Pay for cost per action, that's a much better way, but I don't want to like go way deep in affiliate marketing, but you have to be like really, really careful.
Coming from a background of advertising sales, cost per action though is usually it's free advertising for the people that want to buy it. Everybody's really big on cost per action because they never have to pay unless somebody buys something. But then the converse is, well, if you believe enough in your product and you want to advertise on my site, why won't you pay cost per impression?
That's correct. But what we're dealing with is people who have very, very, very little capital, right? So they can only afford to spend little bits and test all kinds of things and see what works. So if they're doing cost per impression, they're going to get killed because they won't know what the value of an impression is yet. They haven't built a funnel.
Okay, fair enough.
Right? And that's what I said, when you get down the road, you should definitely do that, but you're too small. You're insignificant.
Right.
Yeah, it's just like I get people who want a survey. They're like, dude, you have 40 customers. It's statistically insignificant if all of them phonetically answer one way or the other. So you have to be careful with that, because that's like big company stuff, and that like boils down like, oh, we should be doing this.